What's up, everybody? This is the Gridiron Gilly Show. I'm the host, Gridiron Gilly. Today I have Coach Bill Cowley with the Hawkins Hawks. Coach Cowley, how you doing?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. Just got through mowing the grass,
There you go.
got
Nice.
showered, and been prepping for this meeting with you.
There you go.
Coach, you're in year 2 there at Hawkins. Start by telling me about yourself, your coaching experience, and what led you to Hawkins. And then if you want to dive into your staff and your players, go ahead and do that as well.
Yeah. So this is year 16. I actually started. It's funny. I see the A&M flag in the back. I went to A&M. I kind of got into teaching when they had that big. They started cutting budgets. It's crazy. When I started teaching, I sent out 50 to 100 applications. I had 2 interviews, one down in Baytown and the other one in Athens, Texas. So I can tell you, when I drove from College Station to Athens, Texas, I thought I drove off the face of the earth. But I started there with Coach Paul Esri. My first year was a great one. We went 4 rounds. It was awesome. Best year they've ever had. I was there for 3 years, went over to Palestine for a year with Coach Angel. Then I was at Westwood with Coach Hayes for 2, Madisonville for a year with Coach Nail, and then took the DC job in Anderson, back down by College Station. I was there for 7. And then after that, I got the AD job 2 years ago here in Hawkins. Had never been this far north. We played quite a few teams in Region 3. When I was at Anderson, we were in Newton and Hemp Hills District, so knew of East Texas, knew the area. Kind of excited to get back to that area just because what East Texas football is. I mean, it's called Beast Texas for a reason. Got a lot of respect for the coaches and the kids and, how hard they fight and work out in this area when it comes to football. And I've got my beautiful wife. We've been married going on 16 years this summer. I've got 2 daughters. One's a freshman in high school. Another one's a 4th grader. So, I've got all the sons in the world with football. And then I've got my 2 daughters at home that keep me grounded for sure.
Is Hawkins pretty close to Winona?
Yes, sir. We are about 6-7 miles away.
Okay. My brother, he lives in Winona. That's why I was like, I've been through Hawkins a time or two.
Yes, sir.
So where'd you play ball at?
So I went to McKinney North is where I graduated from. Didn't play college football. I did play rugby at A&M. That was a lot of fun, doing something different. But graduated from the metropolitan area. Have no desire to live in a big city again. I like being able to go 20 miles in 20 minutes versus 2 miles in 20 minutes.
You was the defensive coordinator for 7 years at Anderson Shiro. Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Do they call it Anderson or Anderson Shiro? Because you said Anderson a while ago.
Well, so it is hyphenated. The school is in Anderson, so as long as you don't call it Shiro, you're safe because the school itself is actually in Anderson. It was funny when I was there 7 years. We were there over half the existence of football there. They've only when I first got there, they had football for 5 years.
Okay, so a potentially new program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. Do they have all the other sports beforehand?
They had everything else. They don't do soccer or anything like that. But I mean, they had the baseball, their basketball. They were a big basketball school back in the 90s and the early 2000s. Them and Snook went back and forth in the basketball stuff. So big basketball school when it was 1A stuff.
What classification is Anderson?
So they're 3A Division II. We're in there. They were in there with Newton, Hemp Hill, Trinity, Coon, Warren.
So, I guess tell me about your staff. And I've got a few players highlighted that I've seen from what they did last year. Mm-hmm. And then we can dive into that after you talk about your staff and a few of your players if you want to mention them.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not here if it's not for the players, so I can definitely talk on them. Really excited about the staff we brought in a new defensive coordinator. He came over from Como, Coach Mays. Before that, he was down in Holland, which is a big powerhouse down there in the Waco area. They were a 2A football team. Holland's done a good job. Coach Consumu, our new offensive coordinator, came from Olney. Before that, he was in the Baytown area, so big school. Bringing that mentality here, I think, is good, especially when it meshes well. And then Coach Gaddis, who was born and raised here in Hawkins, he's a Hawkins native. His family name carries a lot of clout. I like giving him a hard time. I go to him to make sure I can make decisions that I make, especially when we got black uniforms. I had some people not enjoy those, but the kids love them, so it's okay. Coach Stone is new. He's coming back. He's from the White House area. Actually brought him back from West Texas, so that was big. He was excited to get back. Coach Pyle, another guy's from the White House area. He's assistant baseball coach. He does a good job for us. And then Coach Thomas, excited about him. He's originally from Troop, trying to get back. He was at Brenham before. Now he's here in Hawkins, trying to get closer to home. And Coach Boxell's our new basketball coach. Anytime you can bring a guy with that kind of resume, really push the kids to take that next step in a sport when we've got the talent is huge. And like I said, we're all here to serve a purpose. And then, but our kids, they make the job enjoyable. Not to say every day is easy, but we've got some kids that'll absolutely fly around, go get after it. We got a quarterback, Eli Smith, that can sling it. Got receivers we can throw it to: Regan Smith, Braden Givens, Eli Snyder. They're going to go get it. And a lot of those guys still play a lot of defense for us too. Small school, we got to play Ironman football, and just kind of taking that next step and being that physical. We preach setting the tone from play one to the last play.
Yes, sir. I was looking at the Dave Campbell's magazine, and I saw a few of those names. I saw Eli Smith. His numbers last year is kind of impressive for 2A football, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
2,867 yards, 37 pass touchdowns, 6 rush touchdowns. Pretty good. A lot of times at 2A football, 2A Division 1 or 2, you don't have a lot of guys like that who can put the ball in the air like that and score or get that many touchdowns.
Absolutely.
So that's impressive. And then I saw Givens and Smith. They did their thing on the defensive side of the ball, got a lot of sacks, a lot of tackles, and a lot of TFLs.
Yeah, they like to get after it. That's what I kind of tell them. I was like, the big thing that we try to tell them here, because with the passing touchdowns, with the sacks, with the TFLs, you got to do all the little plays in between the highlights right, or the highlights never happen. So that's kind of the big, highlights are fun, and you can make a really cool video, but your whole game's not going to be a highlight. And so that's kind of getting them every single play has got to be the next play is the most important one.
Did y'all miss the playoffs last year?
We did. We had 3 losses by the combined score of 5 points. We had 2 games we lost by 1 point each, and then we had another game we lost by 3. And each one we were in till the end. We had a shot against Elysian Fields. Had a call go one way. Another official disagreed with his own officiating crew, so that was bad. We fumbled on the 2-yard line going in to win a game, and then we had a chance for a Hail Mary at the end of another one against Big Sandy, our rival.
So all things that can easily be corrected and fixed. Okay. Well, I saw your 2A Division 1, Region 3, District 10. I interviewed Coach Lawson yesterday at Wascom. But Wascom won that district last year, followed by Beckville, Big Sandy, Elysian Fields, Union Grove, Hawkins, Harleton, Ore City. A massive district. It's a huge district. Sounds like a 5A or 6A district, as many district games as you play.
Yeah.
But this year, it looks about the same, except they have you and Big Sandy swapping spots. They have you finishing third. Doesn't mean anything. It's just their expertise opinions.
Right.
I don't think they're much experts at 2A football. I think they're experts at 5A and 6A. But like I said, I don't know much about any of those teams other than Wascom and Beckville. I know a little bit about Elysian Fields. And then when I was in high school, whenever 1A was still a thing, we moved up to 2A, which is now 3A, and we had to play Union Grove and Wynona and ARP and those teams. But I mean, it looks like a pretty solid district, in my opinion. You got Wascom, who, like I said, they're the defending district champs. Beckville looks like they're kind of shaky this year. And then, like I said, I don't know what Hawkins is about. I've seen you're 3-1, so that's pretty promising right there. Your one loss was the opening district game, but Elysian Fields, I was talking with Coach yesterday, like I said, and then a few other people. I got a buddy from Elysian Fields, and he said they're pretty promising this year as well.
They've definitely got some pieces. There's no doubt.
What are you expecting with this district, like with the turnaround? What are you hoping to see from your team?
Well, I think, the opportunities are 100% there for us. Kind of going back, you touched on a little bit with 5A and 6A ball versus 2A. One kid can make all the difference, especially at a smaller school when it comes to depth and stuff like that. That's every team in our district struggles with depth right now. But I think with us just taking care of ourselves, I tell our guys that it's 11 one-on-one battles every single football play. If we go 11 for 11, we win that play. That's the goal, to win your one-on-one battle, and so we can go be successful on that play. Um, Legion Fields has got a kid he's special. Number 4 he is fast. There's no doubt. I think there's definitely a time and place that a kid like that gives any team in this district a chance to win every single game they're in. He's kind of that X factor that every district's got one, and that happens to be that kid this year. Number 4 for Wascom was that guy last year. I mean, you give him the ball anywhere on the field, and he'd had a chance to take it back and score with it. I think there's a lot of team football that's going to get played. In an 8-team district, you don't really have an opportunity to have a bad night. We put ourselves in that situation last year, losing by 3, then losing by 1, losing by 1 again. But going back, looking at scores, we lose to Union Grove by 1. We come back, we beat Harleton by 12, and then Harleton absolutely puts it on Union Grove. We lose to Big Sandy by 1, and then Union Grove absolutely puts it all over Big Sandy. So I think it's all a matter of matchups, and on how a lot of that stuff works, especially at the 2A level, because you have what you have. You have your strengths, and then obviously with strengths, you're going to have weaknesses. And so kind of the most balanced team is kind of the one that's going to come out on top of a lot of these games, especially because you're going to have Harleton that's going to run the midline outside veer, and you've got us that's wide open spread, and you've got a lot of teams that run spread so they can run the ball. We just happen to be able to run it and throw it at this level.
I 100% agree with that. Depth at 2A, yeah, that's a big problem for sure. I've talked to a lot of coaches about that. And then, like you said, all about matchups and stuff, how you match up with a team. Yeah. I've had a few discussions about that as well, because I told a coach the other day, I've seen, like you said, you've beaten this team, or you've lost to this team, you beat this team, but then the team that you beat, destroyed this team that beat you, But I like what I've seen from your defensive side of the ball. Like your quarterback, he put up some good numbers last year, but defensively, and you're a defensive guy, like you said, you're a defensive coordinator. You came from the defensive coordinator position at Anderson to Hawkins. So the defense is only going to get better. And like I said, I liked what I saw from the Givens and Smith kid, what they did last year on that side of the ball.
Right. And that's, it kind of goes back and kind of goes to it. Like I said, the highlight plays we're able to make. It's the third downs consistently we got to make. It's, going back to our EF game, first drive, we get them to 4th down twice. We got to be able to tackle on every single down. So that's kind of you got to be locked in every play, especially at this level.
Yes, sir. So you said you're not an East Texas guy. You wanted to come to Beast Texas. So that was a question I had for you, is why, if you were from Hawkins, then I understand.
Yeah.
But what drew you to Hawkins? What made you want to come lead that program?
So the job actually opened the year before I took it. It was kind of late in the year, and being about a 3-hour move, I really just didn't feel comfortable with it that late in the year. And then when it opened in January, I'll be honest, we kind of drew a circle around Anderson and said, hey, we're looking in this area. This was at the tippity top. I had a connection here. Our superintendent from Anderson used to be the superintendent at Big Sandy. He knew the area, knew what it was about. And so it was nice. Anytime you move your family 3 hours away for a job that you don't, in this profession, you don't know what's going to happen. It put my wife and I both at ease when he kind of explained the area and said how good it was out here. And then obviously driving out here for the interview and looking at things, these facilities are top notch. I didn't know a whole lot about Hawkins when I first applied, just kind of knew that knowledge. Saw they had a turf football field at a 2A, saw they had one of the nicest gyms I've ever seen, no matter the level. And then our weight room was incredible too when I got out here and interviewed and all that. So it had a lot to offer. My daughter's big in the FFA. They've got a huge FFA program here. So it was a really good family fit for us, because, it's one of those deals with the time we spend as coaches outside from the family. I need my family to be comfortable. I need them bought into the community. We go to church here. We do things with the FFA. We're involved in sports, and I think that was my big deal, is I don't ever want to be known as that guy that only cares about football. I've got 2 daughters, so girls sports are super important to me. I want to see, we're a very strong program. I hate saying it, but it's the truth. Last year, we were the only sport in football that didn't make the playoffs across the board, across everything. So that's kind of, as an AD, I'm really proud of our program and how successful we were. As a football coach, we need to go in and we need to fix that and get every program in the playoffs.
Is Hawkins, because, like, in my opinion, if you have a football team and you're in the state of Texas, you should be a football school,
Right.
But there's schools around here where I'm from that are, baseball is what they care about the most, or basketball is what they care about the most. But I'm a football guy, and I think everybody should be a football guy. So what do you think Hawkins is? Hawkins a football town?
I think Hawkins is a successful town, a successful program. I don't really necessarily know gearing it towards that. I mean, seeing the programs I've seen, you can look right down the road at some of the big schools that are around us. It's really hard to be good at all the team sports. A team sport for you to be a juggernaut in one team sport, another one's going to have to suffer. Selfishly as a football coach, I'd love to be a juggernaut, but as an AD and as somebody who wants to build roots here and wants to set a family atmosphere, I think it's huge on the program itself just being successful. But I think that is a weird dynamic. I know some people may peg us as a basketball school sometimes, depending on the year. Coach Condi's done a great job on our girls' side with that basketball program. But I mean, you kind of look through the years. I mean, there's years here where, in Hawkins, I guess it would have been 4 years ago, they were 2 rounds in football. They were 4 rounds in baseball. They were 2 rounds in basketball. I mean, so I think it's one of those deals as a small school. I think it kind of just lends itself to when you have that really strong group come through.
Absolutely.
It's a combination of that for Hawkins. As far as being one sport specific, no, I don't really see that. More of a program strength, I guess, would be what Hawkins would be, in my opinion.
Yes, sir, Coach. So who do y'all? I didn't write down who y'all played this week. Do y'all have a game or do y'all have a bye this week?
We've got Union Grove for the second district game. It'll be away.
Okay. What do you see from them on film?
They're young. They've got some really good pieces. They're going to be very similar to Elysian Fields. They're going to run similar sets with their quarterback and their running back. They play hard, honestly, and I've told people here, Union Grove reminds me a lot of Anderson, where I came from, as far as just got a bunch of tough kids that are going to play hard. They're going to be in the right spots. They're going to make you make plays against them. They're going to try to limit the big plays, so you've got to snap the ball over and over offensively and not make a mistake. Kind of a bend but don't break. And then offensively, they're consistent at running what they're going to run. Not saying they don't have big play capabilities, but against number 4 from EF, it's a touchdown. Against Union Grove, maybe a 20-yard run. Just kind of that difference there.
Yes, sir. And what do you bring to the table at Hawkins, like on the offensive and defensive side of the ball?
So my big thing on defense is tackling. I tell the kids all the time, doesn't matter if we can't tackle and we can't block. It doesn't matter what we run on offense, what we run on defense. I'm big on physicality. I think there's, anytime you can go hit somebody on a football field, you need to do it with a purpose. If you're going to play a team that wants to read with their quarterback, and the quarterback gets hit by the defensive end, you make that quarterback know he got hit by the defensive end. If I've got a guy that's getting double teamed, if we're on offense, we're double teaming a defensive lineman out of the way, put him on his backside, kind of finishing the play. Our big slogan here is earn it, earn the right, earn the ability to even be out there, to set the goals, to be successful. Because a lot of it just showing up and expecting it to happen that's not how life works. So if I give 100% of what I have every single play, I've got no reason to doubt myself and doubt my teammate if I know that that's what's taking place. So I guess a physicality is what I really look for, because like the saying goes, everybody's got to play until they get hit in the mouth.
Yes, sir. So I went and watched a game the other night. It was Carthage Chapel Hill. Pretty good game. Carthage wound up winning. But that's one thing I noticed about those schools is they do have the depth. They're, top 10 programs in the state. So they have a lot of kids on the sidelines. But the kids that they have out there, the 11 kids that they have playing the game are playing at like 100%. They're giving max effort. And then if they're not, they just get subbed out for somebody else who will, because that's the mentality with the program that's that successful. And I was talking with a guy the other day, and we were talking because what sparked this conversation was Nebraska, the Cornhuskers. They played a game a few weeks ago. It was one of those tune-up games, and Matt Rule told them at halftime, he was like, "If these guys get another first down, I'm subbing out the whole defense. Like I'm going to put a whole new defense in there." And we were talking about because the second half, I don't think they gave up a first down. So that's what we were talking about. But we went to me and my buddies. We've been to a few 2A games this year where it seems like guys lollygag, and I'm like, I wonder why they do that. I guess because they don't have nobody on the sidelines to replace them. Like they just feel like they don't have to give max effort because who's gonna go in for them.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's, the biggest thing I equate stuff like that to. There's a reason, whether it's college or NFL, there's a reason they always sub out defensive linemen and they never sub out offensive linemen. An offense is able to set the tone. Defense, because I don't know where the ball's being ran or I don't know the snap count, I don't know those things. Defense seems to be, if you don't sell out there, and you can overcome a lack of talent with relentless effort on defense. You really can. Just my personal opinion. I mean, if you play balls to the wall on defense, you've got a chance to go hit the guy with the ball and stop them. So that's why, again, I always tell them, like, guys, defense is not the time, because as soon as you lollygag, that's when they're going to take advantage of it. I've preached to our kids, said, if you need a break, you at 70% or so-and-so at 100%, I'm going to take the 100%. And I tell them, I mean, we play Ironman ball, so we have to sub guys out. But I do think there's definitely some of that, especially at the small schools, and it's just because there's not anybody. I mean, that's kind of key. We've had to move up some JV guys just to give us some depth on special teams, so we can buy our varsity kids some rest. Because it's impossible to, we tell a kid, as fresh as you are the first day of football, you won't be that fresh the last day of football. As fresh as you are the first day or the first play of the game, you won't be that fresh the last play. You either gave zero effort or you just never even went in. And so that's where you kind of have to pick and choose your battles on that one. And so, unfortunately, special teams, especially at the lower levels, that's where they kind of take a hit a lot of times, is because you're trying to buy some breaks for your starters and your big contributors.
This is a question my friend's father, he wanted me to start asking this question. So who would you say is Hawkins' rival, and who would you say Hawkins that you would have circled as a potential big game on your schedule this year?
So rivals easy. Big Sandy, and well, it's funny. Big Sandy, Winona, and Hawkins. That used to be the Battle of 80, and so that they were all used to be in the same district. Now that Winona's 3A Division II, us and Big Sandy are 2A in the same district. Us and Big Sandy's the big rivalry. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I was actually pleasantly surprised when we played last year. I heard stories about how many penalties there were, how many fights there were, all this stuff. It was a very clean game. So I was glad to see that. But I mean, Big Sandy's definitely our big rivalry game. And just because when I was the DC at Anderson, my brother-in-law was the AD over there. If it wasn't a 3.5 hour drive, I'd love to go play the Owls, take the Hawks down there, or have the Owls come up to us. It would be a lot of fun to play that game, so I could beat my brother-in-law.
Yes, sir. Let me ask you this question. You said you've coached for how long?
That's year 16.
Okay, this is year 16, and you're second as the head man in charge. So you've seen a lot of good football players, and you've coached a lot of good football players. My question is, and it'd probably be easier to say the toughest player you've coached against, but who's the toughest player that you can remember that you've coached against, and the toughest player that you've coached?
Oof. Toughest player Oh man. I'm gonna have to say, and it's gonna be the running back, and I cannot for the life of me remember his name. Played at Newton, went to TCU. It was the year they won the second state championship, because they had several there. You had the one kid, and I'll never forget his name, Tamazier Brown. He was the fastest one I had seen. And then the running back they had, Foster.
I remember.
And I can't remember. It wasn't Reuben Foster, but the Foster tailback that was there at Newton. I mean, just a freaking freight train. I'll never forget him and our Mike linebacker hit each other in the hole, and They both hit each other pretty dang hard. Our guy fell back, and I mean that was the one time we finally saw him. He got hit, he went down. That was one of those games that if we didn't tackle him in the backfield, we weren't catching him in space. And then toughest kid I ever coached, kid named Crease Milligan, coached him at Anderson. His sophomore year got in a real bad car accident. He didn't get to play at all his junior year. They didn't know if he'd ever play football again. They had to he had to sign papers saying that he was going to come out and play his senior year, and just he's a rodeo kid. I mean, just tough as nails. Ended up being all district linebacker for us. I mean, just a great human being. Like I said, tough as nails. I mean, just coming back from 2 broken femurs, broken back his sophomore year, had to sit out his whole junior year and then played his senior year. That was really cool to watch.
And resilient. Yeah, that's
Yes.
awesome. It's
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out to that guy.
Yeah.
And he's a rodeo guy, so I know he's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, he's team roper.
The guy from Newton, Darwin Barlow.
Barlow. There we go.
Yep.
There's another. They had a Foster too, but yes, Barlow was the go. That guy was a freaking monster.
I saw them play. I went to their game against Tatum a few weeks ago. That was the first time I've ever seen them play like in person.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, they're pretty scrappy. I used to tell our coach whenever I was coming up, I was like, we need to play Newton, Dangerfield, West Rusk. We need to play those guys in non-district so we could get prepared for district. And after watching that Newton game, I was like, shoot, I'm glad we didn't play those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. The problem is the guys who don't get hurt are prepared, but someone's going to get banged up. There was always we were losing.
That's why I said I was like, I'm glad we don't play them because somebody definitely would get banged up. They're too physical.
Yeah.
The running back, it takes like 5 guys to tackle him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's year in and year out with them. I guess that's just the culture that they built down there.
Yep, just to reload. I mean, that's what I kind of tell them. With that East Texas is different. Those, you bring some kids that are very comfortable in their situation, and you got kids that are fighting to get out of their situation. And there's a distinct difference in the way those kids will fight and play a football game.
That's a good point. Well, unless you have anything else you want to talk about the Hawkins Hawks, that wraps up that conversation. Now we can dive into the fun stuff.
Okay.
College or NFL? Which one do you prefer?
College. We take Saturdays off, so we work on Sundays when we game plan.
So you can watch college football. I like that. I need to come coach for you.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
But you like A&M?
Yes, sir. Yep. Went there, and just kind of, that's just one of those deals. Half McKinney seemed to go Texas, the other half went A&M, and so I fell with the better half.
I believe that. I picked A&M to be in the Southeastern Conference Championship this year.
Go.
So I'm pulling for it. I've talked a lot of mess saying that A&M would get it done this year. So hopefully
they've got the talent, but that battered Aggie syndrome is real. I've lived it. My sister went to A&M during Manziel's time. I was out before that time, so she got to really enjoy the high marks of A&M coming into it.
Well, that's the thing. Like he was such a good quarterback that I think they were missing a few other pieces there. But I feel like now, because I think Elko's a great coach in my opinion. I've seen his body of work, and now he's calling the defense. So I'm excited for them. And then I think they have more pieces now than they've ever had.
Yeah.
And you can pay players now, so that helps out.
They do have deep pockets at A&M.
Absolutely. Well, what's your favorite sports movie?
Oof. I'd probably have to kick it old school and go Varsity Blues.
Amen.
That's a good one. That and then the quintessential Sandlot. If we're going to have a second one, that's probably my second.
So I usually ask favorite football movie, but all the coaches say the same movie every time. So I said I'm going to stop asking and just let them pick a sports movie.
There you go.
Would you rather win a game 6-0 or 58-56?
Defensive guy. I'm going 6-0.
I figured that. Game-winning touchdown or goal line stand?
Goal line stand.
Okay. Have you ever had a goal line stand to win a game?
Not to win a game. I have had 2. A couple of years in Anderson, we were pretty stacked on defense. We shot for goose eggs every game. So when you're up at the end of a game, you start subbing guys. I did have 2 games where we were about to give up a score. It's like, are you good with me putting starters back in so we don't give up a score? We did that 2 weeks, and we had 4 goose eggs that year. So I mean, that was kind of times like that. We've enjoyed that. I have been on the losing end of a 6-0 game. My last year in Anderson, we lost to New Diana in the first round, 0-6. So I haven't won a game 6-0. We've won one 14-13, but never
Mhm.
6-0.
Well, usually the coaches, when I ask them that, I've been on both sides of it, and this seems like it's more exciting. That they'll elaborate on it. Um, Me, I used to be the game-winning touchdown guy, but now I'm the goal line stand
There you go.
because I've seen a lot of game-winning touchdowns, but the goal line stand, it's not very common. And when you see it, I like to see the defense like bow their neck
Hmm.
and play disciplined football. That's what I like.
Yeah, well, especially the rules are geared towards offense now these days, anyways.
Absolutely. Well, scenario for you.
Okay.
You're winning 38-32 against whichever opponent you choose.
Okay.
8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. You have the ball on your own 15-yard line.
Okay.
It's 2nd 18. Defense has bowed their neck. They've been playing some solid defense in the second half. So the question here, and do you got 8 minutes left? Okay. Do
Okay.
you try to just get consistent first downs, run the clock because you're ahead? If you don't get it, do you punt it, play defense? Walk me through it.
Well, 2nd and 18, our own 15, 8 minutes. I'm a firm believer of you got your foot on their throat, you got to finish it. Now, I also benefit from having a really good quarterback that can sling it around to some receivers. So I'm not going to sit here and say I wouldn't consider taking a shot. You might take a mid-range throw, and then depending on what happens on third down, if we don't get it, going all for it on both plays is not out of the question either, depending on what that one-on-one matchup is. We've actually faked a punt on 4th and 32 and got 38 yards out of that run. Now, in our punter's defense, it wasn't called fake. We just didn't block the edge guy, so he cut it back to the left side and broke 6 tackles and went for 38, and we needed 32.
Oh, that's awesome. You'd be like, yeah, that's how we drew it up.
Yeah, I'll take it. But no,
Well,
I'm pushing the envelope. I mean, I know the kids we have. It's they can feel when we let up, so we can't let up with a lead, even if we're trying to just maintain that lead at where it's at.
well, I was just thinking about it after I read you that scenario. But even if you don't convert and you turn it over, they
Mhm.
score 38-38. And if they kick the extra point, they're only up by 1. If they make the 2 point, they're only up by 2.
Yeah,
And assuming you don't take too much time off the clock, if you turn the ball over right there, you're going to get the ball back with probably about 5 minutes left.
right.
Well, that's that. Last thing, I forgot to ask Coach this yesterday, but it don't matter because I don't think they have no restaurants over there anyways. But if somebody wants to come to Hawkins this year, y'all play Wascom for senior night, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if somebody wants to come to that game,
Hmm.
for instance, where should they get about to eat at in Hawkins, Texas?
Definitely need to go to Red Rooster. They've got really good burgers, really good. I like their nachos personally. Tacos are good. I've heard people rave about the steak. Just never had it. I really haven't had a bad meal there. Um, Really good live music on Fridays and Saturdays. If you get into it, they've got karaoke on Wednesdays. But it's a good place. That's where everybody goes.
Red Rooster.
Yes, sir.
How and like I said, my brother, he lives in Winona, so
Mhm.
that's not too far from you. But whenever I go visit my brother, we go eat at this place. You know where Ben Wheeler is?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm about to say it's a place there. I don't know how far it is, but I've been there with them before. It's called the Forge in Ben Wheeler.
Okay,
That's a hidden gem. Not sure if you've ever been there,
I have to
but
try
it's a
that.
hidden gem in a little bitty podunk town. There's nothing there in Ben Wheeler,
Called the
but
Fort.
they got a dang good bar and grill called the Forge.
Try that out for sure. That sounds interesting.
Yes, sir. So, Red Rooster is the spot in Hawkins, Texas.
Yes, sir.
I'll jot that down. I'll tell my people about it.
There you go.
Um, but yeah, that's it, Coach. That was a little over 30 minutes.
There you go. Good.
About what I average.
Good.
Sometimes, sometimes the coaches will just ramble and ramble and ramble, and it'll be an hour long.
Yep.
Sometimes they'll be uh,
Well, my wife
soft
would.
spoken, be 17, 20-minute videos. It just depends.
Yeah. Well, if I would have rambled, my wife would have told me once she hears this. So at least I don't have to, she can't tell me I ramble too much.
No, you're good, man. Well, the Hawkins Hawks, like I said, don't know much about them, but hopefully after this season I do. Hopefully
Yeah,
the state of
absolutely.
Texas knows a little bit about them, okay? Um, like I said, they're the experts at 5A and 6A, but they don't know anything about 2A and 3A football. That's my wheelhouse. That's what I like. So I would like to see Hawkins impress me and do something this year, okay?
100% with it. We're putting it together. We are what we graduated. We bring back with physicality. So that's what I'm excited to see.
Absolutely, Coach. Well, guys, I hope you stay healthy, and I hope y'all compete.
Well, thank you, sir.
Say I'm biased. I like Coach Lawson. He coached me in high school, but I hope you guys compete.
I thought I heard you say you were a Joaquin kid.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all right. Y'all always played Corrigan. That was
Corrigan,
that was our
yeah,
district opponent in Anderson. So that's how I always got Joaquin film.
they were pretty good. That's
Yeah,
who they played this week is Corrigan.
oh, really?
Joaquin
That's
does, yeah,
not going to be a game.
on the road. I think I'm gonna go watch. I think I'm gonna go watch Gladewater and Jefferson play this week.
There you go. They've got some things rolling over there. The game you need to go watch is Troop and Arp.
I would love to go to that one.
that's gonna be a head knocker right there.
I would love to go to that one. Honestly, I got ARP to win, but I try to go to the games of the coaches I interview,
Oh, I got you. There you
and
go.
I haven't interviewed either one of them. Coach Schminke and Coach Wells haven't
Well,
interviewed either one of them yet.
I don't know Schminke. I know Wells. He and I coached together coached against each other when he was at Elkhart and I was at Westwood. So
Well, I don't know if I'd want to coach Schminke because I saw him do some interviews, like the I forgot what they're the post game people who come up to you with a microphone. He don't say a whole lot.
my
They'll ask him a question. He'll just like, yeah, we played good. We played tough. We played hard. Team won. And they'll
yeah,
ask him another question. He's like, yeah, we scored more points than they did. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I want to interview that guy. He'd make me feel silly.
that's I mean, like I got told at a young age, if they don't score, they can't win.
That's what he said. He said, we coach our guys to take the ball away. If you can take the ball away, they can't score on offense. You win the game. I was like, I like that.
There you go. That's good. That's good.
Well, Coach, that's all I got, man. I hope y'all stay healthy, like I said, and are competitive and
Well, I
compete
appreciate it.
and turn some heads, okay?
Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate it, man. I appreciate the time that you took to interview, and I think it's great what you're doing, especially with like I said, with the small schools, and you know, it's not everybody talks to the little guys, so I think it's a neat thing what you're doing.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, man.
Hey, not a problem. Y'all
Take
enjoy.
care.
You too. Bye.